Alrighty, here we go. It's officially 2 o'clock, August 25th, 2020. It's Mr. Lawyer. I'll be doing my live lesson shortly. So we do have another guest here.
Yes,
How you
sir.
doing, Mr. Leah?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Doing good.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in this class because I already took CTR1 a while
Are
back.
you? Who'd you take it with?
It was uh an old Mexican dude.
Okay. And let me see. You know how long ago you did it?
Probably like around this time last year because I went on medical leave for 6 months and it was right before I went on medical leave.
That's why. We just want to make sure that your plans are insured, that they're recorded, because during the time that you are out,
Yeah.
things may have changed for you, and you may
All
want
right.
different things. So it's important for us, one, to record it. Um, Obviously, you already know how to do the grad 90 presentation. It's a little bit different, and I'm going to go over it because
Okay.
there's a lot of intricate things that you could pass up because you're not aware of. Um,
All right.
so that's what I'm going to go through. I appreciate you telling me that information. Very helpful. Um, what I'm going to be essentially looking for today, because there's several items that I need to get as quickly as possible. Um, they are. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so right here, the mandatory assignments. Um, this one right here, the e-signature. If you already know how to do that, you're in the clear. It's just a
Okay.
helpful video. The next one is obviously the verify address, the questionnaire, and then the presentation, which I'm going to go over.
Okay.
So, and then, well, obviously the distance learning agreement. I stated in my video yesterday that within these particular assignments, you basically, if you do these, I can unlock a lot of resources. Like let's say for instance, you needed uh, like IT help, like you don't have a computer, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
internet. well, I can try to get that for you. Hopefully by the end of the class, or right before you go back into your regular trade.
All
Uh,
right.
mhm. Are you by chance looking to um, go into a second trade?
Um, I was, but like right now, since the corona and all that, not really.
Okay, because there's along with um, along with doing second trade, I know they're doing advanced training. Um, what is it called? Virtually. So there are some schools that are doing it virtually. It'll be, if you're comfortable doing the work online, we'll find you the avenue to keep on pursuing your career plans. So,
All right.
uh, but with that, I'm going to go ahead and start and then elaborate on that particular topic in just a few minutes. Okay.
All right.
All right, sir. All righty. So today I'm going to be going over the mandatory assignment #003, the grad 90 presentation. Extremely important. This is a valuable assignment that one will record your career plans, but also it's could kind of considered like an accountability in my perspective. The grad 90 presentation allows us to record your data, your plans, your goals, any type of transition needs you may have. This basically locks it in. If in the event we go back into uh, to center, basically your plans will be recorded, and we will be able to follow up with this kind of resource. If in the event let's say you have your plans change, and your first plan doesn't push through, but you are also considering a backup plan of doing advanced training. Well, this is kind of like the accountability uh, type deal with this particular presentation. If for some reason someone says you can't do second trade or advanced training, this basically locks you into that opportunity because you asked for it, it was documented, and it was recorded. Moving forward. So the explanation on this, or the instructions, say you will need to download the original copy, which is this one right here, the Google Slides. Essentially, it's also available to use with PowerPoint to complete the assignment. So by the end of this class, you'll be able to have the following Grad 90 panel with your Grad 90 coordinator, which is either going to be Miss Cheatham, Miss Choppa, possibly Miss Arcee. That might be a different trade area, but nevertheless, those are the Grad 90 coordinators. Let's see, the PowerPoint presentation used to show what you're interested in. Let's see, you're ready to separate from the program. You'll possibly get a projected separation date. Within the projection separation date, you could possibly get that pushed back if in the event you're doing a second trade or advanced training or work-based learning. All right. So it's a very good assignment to consider and make it the best as possible. I think this is something that students could use to provide potential employers, specifically the structure. I think along with that, it is something that I look deep into these particular presentations. Personally, help critique them. If they're not up to par, basically you'll be cutting yourself short with your transitional services and/or transitional resources. So the better that you can do it, more information you populate into the presentation, the better you're going to be off. Um, I think I've yet to find one of these presentations that was actually done. I'm not going to say perfect, but I've had some students not take it seriously, and they're not fulfilling what the presentation could possibly be. I look at it as a possibility to recognize my students. If their plans are on point and I can advise you into different avenues to pursue, I certainly will do that. But I think the recognition on this could be taken like through, let's say a student makes a great presentation, and I'm able to provide this particular resource into the newsletter, the newsletter that goes through Job Corps. I think this would be a very good chance to recognize students for their ability in creating such a great presentation, possibly if in the event like other new students could potentially have a chance at seeing your work and consider doing their presentation in the future, possibly like the one that you would create. But like I said, this is this one thing is extremely important. Um, I know it's for your career plans, but it's also something you could possibly get recognized for. So if you would consider all that, I think you'll be well off. So moving into the presentation, um, you can keep it. I will say you can keep it basic. Uh, I don't usually print these out because we're not on center. So I'm thinking that if you do happen to design the presentation background, I think that would be okay. I like to see, creativity. Certainly, if you have a passion for your trade, incorporate, photos, background imaging, images to the back part of the presentation. Personalize this to yourself. Like I said, you could potentially get recognized for doing a really good job on this. All right. This next section is obviously your introduction. It has all the questions and sample information that you could possibly answer within this. Feel free to add a little bit more if you'd like, but this is the meat and beans. So do your best, to elaborate in this area. You can follow the structure. What I'm really looking for nowadays is this right here, your professional photo of yourself. This is something that, maybe you could put into your portfolio, once we're said and done with the course. You could actually put this into your portfolio, have it as a sample of, some of your work. But for the most part, I would use this particular photo in recognition of the student. So, one, when you graduate, we'll have a professional photo of yourself to recognize you, to present, talk about your achievements and so forth. So, definitely look for this photo to be here whenever you are submitting your work. Please don't forget that. Now, this next slide is the completion status. I'm hoping that everybody has received their stat report along with the outline, what was it, the letter, and the transitional guide questionnaire. Now, the stat report included all this information. For the most part, you should know your trade. You should know your ETAR percentage. If you don't know it by now, certainly get with me after class, and we can find that out for you. But yeah, you definitely want to put your trade, your ETAR percentage, certainly the high school name and graduation year if you obtained your high school outside of Job Corps. Now, if you obtained your high school while in Job Corps, make sure you do note that the name of the school is Southwest High School. And if your high school is still pending, certainly put a projected date for your graduation, for your high school completion. So in other words, whenever you do receive your high school diploma or HSC, make sure you note that it's still pending and possibly put a projected date if you know it. If you don't know the projected date, you can certainly put pending. All right. You definitely want to identify whether you're going to be achieving a high school diploma or a high school equivalency. I will state that if you are considering military, highly recommend you going after the high school equivalency because it has more recognition, through our school, and the military will accept that. Something I learned over the years. Uh, make sure you identify those slide, and last but not least, the work-based flow. Some students have experience that is on center or off center. Make sure you identify that information there. If you don't have any experience within work-based learning just yet, you may want to identify that you do have interest in doing work-based learning, pending that we go back to center in the next few months. God willing. Right.
I mean,
So next.
yeah, I did work base for like a week, and then they had made us all leave the campus. So they basically what they did was they paid me throughout like the whole 3 months I was supposed to be working. But I don't know
Okay.
how I'm gonna get
So,
like if is there any way I could do that again because I want to have a good reference.
yeah, definitely. Well, one, I always advise students to build with us because we are in the department where we help you, find placement. We coach you in professional development to help you master certain skills that will help you land the jobs. Now, if you continuously work with us, you know, you're gonna have one heck of a reference. I
Mm-hmm.
usually also suggest, along with working with us and CTR,
Yeah.
highly recommend building a rapport with your counselor, your
Okay.
instructor, possibly something like an RA as well.
All
These are people that are that have monitored you and will definitely reference you if you certainly ask them professionally. Okay, so
Okay.
you could potentially have some really good references. Mhm.
All right.
Another thing I will say is, with that work-based learning, if since you do have some, the work-based learning can also potentially uh, build up clock hours. Which, if you are trying to go into the military, you can ask the work-based learning person to provide those clocked hours for you. And if they're not available, you can certainly ask the grad night coordinator, which is either Miss Cheatham or Miss Chapa in this particular situation.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely good information to remember if you're considering that's a part of magic.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. And just so you know, if when it comes down to this particular slide, guys, the certification aspect is extremely important because if you can identify the certifications that you will be receiving graduation, we'll be able to record the data as well as provide these particular certifications to you if you don't graduate with these, with the allotted certifications that are provided for whatever trade you're in. So definitely identify those. If you don't know which ones you have already obtained, certainly get with me a little bit later or send me an email just as a reminder. But yeah, everyone should be aware of their certifications. If they are still pending, you can still put them down. Just put to the side uh, pending. All right. This is another good part of the presentation. Um, I identified with this pretty well in one of my other assignments. I utilize in basic research the use of Google Maps. I don't know if anybody has tried to use that, but it's a very resourceful application. So let's say if you were doing a basic research on, jobs in welding or OA, you could certainly type that into the Google search box within Google Maps, and it'll give you a like a radius of all the jobs or companies that are related to your trade. Now, certainly it's a very easy way to um, to track these companies in the area, but it's very useful in the event that you are trying to contact these companies and find out bits and pieces of who to contact, who's the manager, who's the hiring manager, and so forth. So when you build that researched information, it can prove very valuable if in the event that you're trying to find a company that pays this particular pay range, or it's 5 miles away from your house, or you can certainly structure a good resource of information related to all those companies in the radius of of where you live. So within this particular slide, I hope that we can identify at least four jobs, four companies in which to include their name and their pay scale. What you want to do with this is certainly save this information because there is an assignment later on which would include this information plus I would say maybe another five or six more jobs. This is going to be very useful either to excuse me, to your CTS provider, because one, they can actually look up these jobs and find potential positions that you're qualified for. Now, granted, if we don't do the work, we don't provide this information to the CTS person, they're not going to know, which companies you have high interest in. So I think this is very valuable portion of this presentation to identify those potential jobs, potential companies that you have high interest in working for. So definitely put that into consideration whenever you're thinking about this. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and leave it out. Now here is the meat and beans of the presentation. This identifies your futures slash backup plans utilizing Magic. Obviously, everyone should know by now that Magic is basically how you would graduate or move on to your to the next steps of your career path. My examples that I provided are very just to the point. You don't have to elaborate too much. If you're identifying your information, certainly this way you'll be able to have the option to do any of these types of things to obtain Magic. So obviously, if you were considering a second trade and it was available, you would put that down. Now if the second trade wasn't available and you were also considering work-based, well, you could have the option to do work-based learning if one or the other was not available. Now, certainly, if the option A is not available on both ends, and you are also considering advanced training, if you put that down, you'll certainly have the opportunity to be considered for that, and it'll be recorded that you had interest pending that second trade and work-based learning was not available. Now, if all three of those are not available at the time, certainly the inevitable job trade match would be identified that, hey, this is what we're going to have to push for. We couldn't get into second trade or work-based learning or advanced training. It's they're just not open right now. There's various situations that you could put yourself into that may or may not happen, but given the opportunity, if we are back on center and we record the data, you could potentially have the opportunity at any one of these. At the end of the day, you could have the opportunity for any one of these three, which is what I hope for any of my students. because given the opportunity to do like advanced training certainly it puts you in a higher pay bracket. I always identify uh, with like with welding because I know with my welders, if they consider advanced training, they're bumping up into a whole different pay grade with the training they get in advanced training. Something definitely to think about in the event that you are unsure about second trade or work-based learning, but you want advanced knowledge in your trade, so that way you can get a higher pay wage. Certainly recommend it. I'm an advocate for advanced training, and if I can help you get into advanced training, I'd love to be there to assist you. And just to elaborate this last part on Plan C, if for some reason you decide to do job trade match, make sure that you certainly verify employment. That you're hired with the Grad 90 coordinator. You can certainly pass on verification to me, whether it's an email, a letter that you've been hired. I can certainly pass that on, or you can directly send that verification information to the Grad 90 coordinators. And again, I'm the Grad 90 instructor. Your Grad 90 coordinator is going to be either Miss Chapa, Miss Cheatham, or Miss Arce. So I just want to make sure I clarify that, as well as the military verification. The job trade match verification and military verification are something that if you have that, it needs to get to us ASAP. So moving on. So along with resources, services, there's needs. Now, within this presentation, if you identify, certain aspects of your needs related to any of these, you certainly will be considered for them, or at least you'll get the assistance that is needed for for the support. So, like let's say, for example, you were going to college, you already were looking at enrolling, you applied, you've already taken the college entry exam, but you needed help doing your financial aid or your FAFSA paperwork. We can certainly help you out with that. We can certainly help you if in the event you, let's say you found a job, but you needed to look for a vehicle. I know I've helped several students in the past year locate transportation. Now that would be something that either, since I'm no longer the coordinator, I'm now the instructor for the course. You're definitely going to have to get some assistance support in this area, possibly through your Grad 90 coordinator or your CTS provider. Given the opportunity, if I see a vehicle that a student could purchase, I certainly make recommendations. But in this area, you definitely want to identify that if you need assistance in locating that particular need, so that way we can provide you your support and assistance. Same thing with housing. If you're looking for now, if you're putting down those particular items as needs, I'm definitely hoping that students have a good savings, because I know with transportation, you need, in most cases, you need a down payment. Certainly insurance as well. The housing aspect, you're probably going to have to put a deposit down. So I know in my past, when I lived in apartments, they usually recommend anywhere from like $400 to $500, depending on what size apartment you're looking into. Another thing that we can obviously discuss in relation to support needs is going to be child care assistance. Most students are not aware that Job Corps has an allotment, which is a payment that can come out of your paycheck every so often. And let's say they pull out $5 as an allotment from your paycheck. Well, Job Corps will match that times 5 and process that payment to assist in child care assistance. That paperwork, I believe, is still going through your counselor. If in the event you have a counselor that's unaware of that, you certainly let me know. I'll do all I can to locate the paperwork so I can provide it. Another support service is legal services. If in the event you have tickets or fines, certainly want to make sure every student has the opportunity to get that assistance. I believe that still goes through your CSIO. If that's something that is not provided through the CSIO anymore, I can certainly do some research and find out who's taking care of that. And as of today, I recently found out that we'll be doing clothing trips. So that'll be a very cool item to reference and provide as provide assistance. I know when it comes down to professional attire and stuff like that, you know, it the clothes do get expensive, and we want to make sure that you do get that incentive, especially if you are going through CTR and you're doing everything the right way. So, along with the clothing trip, as stated, uh, for some particular trades, there are toolkits. I believe they're up to like $500 toolkits specifically, or currently they're only available for the hard trades. Like your welding, HVAC, electrical, carpentry, I believe machining, uh, and some medical students get those incentive tools. But that's pending that you do obtain magic and it's already been verified. All right. Um, Next portion of the support needs is the insurance location. And, if you don't have any insurance, certainly want to make sure that you have, uh, someone to advise you on which to pick. I know I'm pretty fluent with insurance and requesting insurance for your auto. So if you do, if in the event you need some advice on that, I can certainly help you out. If not, if it pertains to something else, we'll make sure that we can help you identify, who to speak with. All right. Another item is driver's license or behind the wheel training. If you don't have driver's license yet, and we were potentially on center, I could get you signed up for your behind the wheel training and possibly get you tested to get the driver's license. So, God willing, if we go back to center and uh, we're able to do this again, that's definitely a good incentive to have. Uh, pending that we go back to center. But if you don't have it right now, we're able if for some reason we're able to provide the training online. Certainly want you to recommend that you put that information down that you need your driver's license or that you need behind the wheel training. Nevertheless, if it's something that you're unsure of, certainly put it down. I'm a pretty resourceful guy. If it's something that you really need, and basically it's not identified here, maybe I can request the resource or the support to be provided, pending that it's put down. It's always good to put down information in this particular area because these are transitional like resources that we provide, where you got to put it down, because if you don't put it down, it's like it never happened. So, one thing to remember when you are completing your work, if you don't put it down, it's not going to be like it ever happened. Hence the comment I made earlier about accountability. If you don't write it down or you don't type it out in the presentation, you need it. If it's not there, well then, we didn't record the data. So it's important to put all the information related to your career plans, transition report needs, very important. Record it on this presentation so that way we can identify the support that you need for it. All right. The next item, um, running out of time. So your quarter two, quarter four goals, we'll try to speed this up a little bit. Um, in this particular area, you should relate anything that is identified in your future backup plans, that career planning aspect, you're going to identify how you're going to get those particular items. You know, let's say if you were um, applying to second trade or you're considering second trade, you certainly want to identify that you're applying to each and every one of those. It shows that you're interested. You know, let's say you were, excuse me, let's say you were considering your own apartment, and you know you wanted to obtain an apartment, we'll say, or locate the apartment within this time frame, so you could have it in quarter 4. Certainly want to identify it here. These are going to show that you did all the legwork to achieve your future or backup plans. So this is the area where you basically tell us, you know, how and what you're going to do in this particular time frame. So make sure you remember that whenever you are completing this section. Very important. Now, this Q4, quarter 4 is going to exist from your actual graduation date out 6 months. Um, so I know with certain students that I have worked with before, they went into work-based learning and they considered the option to go as a direct hire. They relocated, and this was actually one of their realistic goals. So that's what they did. That's what they decided to do. They achieved it. You can identify possible advanced training. You know, whenever you ship off to the next site, put the date that you are possibly considering. Uh, you know, the option to transfer. You can identify that date there. Let's say you graduate, you have a job trade match, and you are considering um, the entertaining a raise after 3 months. You definitely want to identify that there. Possibly identified savings for a new vehicle. I know some students, specifically the ones that are non-residential students, I've seen them save their money. You know, they'll have a vehicle that basically brings them to center, but within a few months they save money and they end up buying a brand new vehicle. You know, all because they did their savings correctly. So if you want to identify that as a quarter 4 goal, certainly do that. But this area is going to reflect a lot of items that are in the quarter 2 goals. So make sure that when you are identifying your quarter 4 goals, that you keep the Q2 in mind as well as your future/backup plans. All right. Last but not least is going to be the CTS, Grad 90, and family support. What I recommend here is, let's see, whenever you format this one, make sure that you do get the presentation that has the 2 boxes. I do believe you can format here. Oh, here we go. So yeah, you want to go into slide and then apply layout. So highly recommend modifying that slide. If it's not the right version, modify it to where it'll give you 2 boxes. But you're just identifying who your CTS provider is, who your Grad 90 coordinator is, any family support that is, backing you up and wanting to see you succeed. Definitely want to identify them, just general like this. You don't have to put their names. Certainly feel free to do that if you'd like, but make sure that we do know, that they're your parents or grandparents, brother, sister, friend, peers, instructor, so forth. So that's pretty much all I have for today. In relation to the Grad 90 presentation, guys, this is extremely important. Certainly something that will fulfill a lot of resource, a lot of services, incentives that you could possibly obtain. And I know for my part, if you do the presentation extremely well, I certainly would like to recognize you. I know they're doing a lot of incentives for students, for the hard work, for participating. So definitely take advantage of the opportunity to show what you can do. I'll be happy to assist you. But the most important part of this course is doing the work, being accountable for your career plans, because this information is you. It's not so much us. Without this, we can't really help you. So remember that whenever you are working on this assignment, consider it as, you know, consider this presentation that you'll be doing. It's certainly going to be a professional meeting. So identify your information, post it on here, record it, and remember that whenever at the end of the day, next week, we'll have a panel meeting, which will be able to discuss your plans, discuss any resources, any needs that need support. So once again, very important assignment. Do your best to complete it. I'm also going to recommend that if you're having difficulties with anything, you need that IT support, computer, hotspot, make sure you do those mandatory assignments so that way we can reach out to you and provide those tools to make your work a lot easier, once you're done with CTR1. But again, this information, the mandatory assignments, they have to get done. Don't waste any time. I'm trying to make a point to each and every one of you that, without those assignments, we'll be left in the dark. So please do your best to exhaust, as much time needed to get this done. Reach out to me if you need any other assistance or help. Communication is going to be key when you're going to be working in CTR1. So, and that's pretty much, I'm going to wrap it up since we're already a few minutes after. Make sure that you do turn in the CTS questionnaire as soon as possible. Turn in the Grad 90 presentation as soon as possible. Make sure it does have the photo. Any questions or you need more information on certain things, please reach out to me by email. I think everyone should have my cell phone number for text messaging. And, again, very important assignment. Please take advantage of the time that we do have. Again, this is Mr. Loy. I'm going to be signing off on my live lesson today. I hope you guys have a good afternoon. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.